Welcome to Riverbend Talent on WBGZ. Brought to you by the Halpin Music Company.
Another Thursday night in the Riverbend means another sea shanty sing-along underway down at Morrison's Irish Pub. Riverbend Talent on the air thanks to Halpin Music Company and Mr. Matt Van Voorhis of Macias Insurance. Open mic scheduled tonight at the Conservatory in Alton. Case 44 playing Fast Eddies until 10 o'clock tonight. Cash Goatin' underway up at George's Pub and Grill in Jerseyville until 9. Matt Heaton already underway at the Clubhouse Sports Lounge in Edwardsville until 9 o'clock. Cherry Duncan underway at Big Daddy's until 9 o'clock. The Attic Owls playing tonight at the Staggerin' again in Edwardsville from 7 to 10. Matt Heaton underway at the Clubhouse in Edwardsville. I think I mentioned that already. I did. Ryan Holting underway until 9 o'clock at the Cabin at Judy Creek in Glen Harbin. Blake Hardesty started at 5:30, goes till 8:30 at the Prairie Inn in Dorsey. Jeremy Drake already underway at the Press House. That's the Old Harold Brewing in Collinsville. And John Scroggins already underway down at Long Shots. That's at Fairmont Park in Collinsville. That's just what's happening on a Thursday night. And, yeah, Pigpen's here, too.
Not really. I mean, I am.
You were waiting for the big introduction.
I don't even know how to, usually there's a big voice. And now, ladies and gentlemen, Pigpen.
I've been changing it. I introduced you as Lydia's father.
Well, see, here's the thing. I actually have a button before I walk into any room in my house. A big voice comes, ladies and gentlemen, please welcome to the living room, Pigpen.
I believe that, actually.
By the way, real quick, I do want to give a shout out to the Shanghai House. And I went in the other night and they were listening to 94.3, our sister station. And of course I was like, oh, you listen to 97.1? And, put on my, trying to get recognized. It didn't happen. But no.
Why would you ask them if they listen to 97.1?
I don't know what I'm saying. I
I'm totally
94.3, I know. I looked over at Scott and I got lost in my thoughts because he's just got those eyes that, they're deep. They're deep, man, like an ocean. See, I'm referring to Scott and Mechelle, who are sitting here. They are going to be our guests tonight. We've had them on multiple times, and every time is just a joy because, in addition to being great musicians, they're locally they're a part of their community. But they're also just beautiful people. I mean, truly, it makes me smile every time I see you guys. Welcome to the show. Welcome back to the show. I don't think their mics are on yet, though.
Love being here.
There we go. I couldn't hear you. I saw your. I felt Pink Floydish. It's like your lips are moving, but I just can't hear what you're saying. It happens a lot. It happened to you too. You woke up, thought it was Tuesday. It's not. No. Anyway, no. You seriously. You guys. I since I first met you. Which actually was at a Happy Trails, I believe.
Yeah.
The first time I can remember meeting you now. Look, I may have puked on you in the past and don't recall, and I'm sorry for that.
I may have done the same to you. I don't know.
Oh yeah, I would remember that. It'd be filed with the good memories.
That was a great gig down there. That was neat.
That was Marshall and Gracia, one of the Happy Trails down there, and that was every one of those I ever went to.
Yeah.
Good times, a lot of fun. I was involved in several, helped him out with those. Marshall's a good dude. But that I remember watching you guys, and your song selection was just made. Every song, I'm like, oh, come on,
Thank you.
And this was before Spotify, but if it was modern, I'd be like, you've been looking at my Spotify account. Yeah. Back then, I thought you've been reading my mail. No. But I've got to know you over the years, and like right off the bat, I mean, just musicians. Oh, this is fun. I love this.
Yes.
And as I get to know you, you're great people. Then when we met down at Mike Parkinson's office that day, I started realizing how connected you were with your community. We say your name here all the time. You're playing all over the place, but I realized how connected you guys are to Granite City.
Yeah.
And now both of you actually like you're working for the mayor's office.
Yeah,
at this time
yep,
point,
I'm
Mechelle.
his assistant, yes.
Yeah, you are the mayor's assistant, and I don't know if you're officially employed by the city.
No, it's more the county, but it's in the city. And
Yeah, I was
make
gonna
sure
s-
the water runs that way.
Yeah, well, and you're going to zoning meeting, like you're involved in your community, and not you know.
Oh,
You
sorry.
talk to the mic, buddy.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I was just talking louder as I got.
But since I got to chime in, so I remember this differently. The first time we had you guys on, you had just won the Advantage News Award.
Wow, that was a long time ago.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was a paper then.
Yeah.
Yeah. And what was it? Like
Favorite local.
favorite
band.
local act.
Yeah.
Oh,
I don't know if that was before that Happy Trails.
Yeah.
I'm going to
I
say it
don't know.
was because we did it in that room. The
Yeah,
Advantage was still a paper.
Oh wow!
See, and once again, everybody listening in, realize this is how Pigpen's mind just kind of drifts into his own stories.
It's just the way I remember it. It's just the way I remember it.
You don't remember these two lovely people
I
coming in?
absolutely
and-
do, but I thought that was after the Happy Trails
Well, it
gig.
might have been, but we got proof.
Well,
We can go back and look it up.
I was going to say,
I will tell you this much: it was before video.
before video was invented.
No,
That's insane.
before we started doing
it was
video.
on your birthday, too, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was. Yeah, it was on. Happy Trails was my birthday. It was on October 4th. Yeah, but I can't remember what year it was.
Right. Well, and I, I can't remember what happened earlier today. So he's right. I make things up as I go along a lot
I do,
too.
too.
I just remember him being one of our early guests, after you started, and it was because they won that award in the Advantage News, which that was a long time ago.
That was
Well,
great.
you know what?
Yeah, we won that 3 times.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it was
17,
probably the
18,
third
19.
time.
Yeah, I know what. I believe you're right. I believe they came on, but I never. The first time I saw him play music, I guess,
There
was
you go.
Happy Trails.
Now you're getting into
Yeah. I think sometimes I do mix that up in my life because that's when I'm first like, whoa. Yeah.
I remember both instances, but I don't remember when they were.
Well, I
I'm not trying
don't
to-
remember what happened 2 minutes ago. Like I think we were talking about you guys, though.
My main goal is to bring up their award again.
Yeah, that which three-time winners. That's a hat trick right
Oh,
there.
yeah.
That's a yeah.
Yeah, and they started
Out of the
doing
blue, too.
that again here at the station this last year.
Yeah.
Oh, they did?
Called something else now, the GOAT Awards.
Oh, the GOAT Awards.
Greatest of all time.
Yeah.
Oh, I was going to say, but I shower, so.
It was a Thursday night Village Inn. We were tired, and we were leaving for Table Rock Lake the next day for a 3-day weekend. We were burnt.
We had like 125 shows that year.
Oh yeah, and the guy come out and said, "Hey, see, you guys got that award." I said, "Oh, we qualified for it." I said, "No, you guys got it." And it was right before our last set. And you're talking about getting us through it. And that whole weekend, we're just like, "Yes." Oh, it's great.
You're like, I was feeling tired, but man, I suddenly feel
Oh, yeah.
good. I am ready to play
I'd
this
lay in bed
last
going,
set. Now
"Oh."
that is a great move. Is like someone running a stage to tell somebody right before they go on, man, you just won that award. Even if
yeah.
they didn't afterwards,
Yeah.
you're like, sorry, I was wrong.
Sorry.
I'm just kidding. You look tired.
So,
Now we've given you our own award. So there's lots of times when like your name will come up and like, we're talking to some other group and they always back us up when we say they're the nicest couple, the nicest duo in the entire area. You guys are so nice to
Thank you
people
very
and
much.
sweet all the time.
And I'm not used to that.
We feel like family.
Yeah,
you.
And
we
we're
think that you
supposed
guys
to.
are family too.
Yeah.
Yes. Thank you.
and really, kind of the point, or what sort of became the point of this show, is to make this music community, all the little music groups become one big family because we're all
We are.
putting out vibrations here.
Right.
They might not be the same vibrations,
Yeah.
but we're all
Yes.
trying to do the same thing here.
Seems like
so
everybody, the whole music scene is tight now. In the 80s, is like every band for themselves.
Yeah.
Now everybody's in it together,
and that is something I noticed that like the late through the 80s and even into the 90s, everything was a battle of the band.
Oh, yeah.
And I really just I didn't like it.
No.
And
No.
I get like, okay, so the Road to Point Fest, there's a prize here, so there has to be a winner, and I get that. But so many times it was they'd call it a battle of the bands, and you don't get anything. It's just, why can't we just call it a party or a festival or something?
Yeah.
Why are we battling here.
Yeah.
Let's battle to make this a better show for everybody. You know, and I'm not saying like we got to all get participation awards. I don't want an award. I just want to have a good time.
Go out some great vibes.
Yeah, it's definitely something we've been saying the entire time we've been doing this show, and you know, the government's still not listening.
Oh, they're listening. They're just not. They're just not paying. You know, they're just not responding properly.
They're not getting along. I mean, you know.
They're listening as we speak.
Watch. Siri, are you listening? This is Alexis. Who is Siri? No, I don't know. I don't know if that's
My
how it
point
works.
being
but
is, you know, they're the ones that are leaders that are supposed to be setting the example, and you know, this little peons down here actually live the example. So.
Well, and the littlest peon of all over here is going to back this up. What we've been saying. The nicest couple.
Thank you guys very much.
And that's kind of what, whenever I brought up like meeting you guys and everything, you know, once he brought it up, it started clicking. Man, there's so many shows we did in the beginning back there that we weren't on video that just sort of got filed away, you know.
Yeah.
But it was the first time I saw you play music was Happy Trails. We met here, but every time I've met you, you've been awesome. I appreciate that.
you.
And
Appreciate you guys.
You guys back on again this time because specifically to talk about Wordi. I mean, we can talk about anything you want. We can promote everything you want. But Wordi Gras.
Oh, yes.
Oh, yeah.
I mean,
Back again.
That is
Played
incredible.
there last year, right?
Yeah,
Yep,
this
it's
is
our
our
third
third
year.
year.
I was going to say we're back to another hat trick here, another trifecta.
Yes.
Yeah, the triple crown, baby.
I hope Rick has us back next year.
Oh, it's-
Rick and Nikki.
It's just undescribable.
So it might be like the largest crowd in February every year consistently at a gig.
Yeah.
And everybody's, you know, there's no arrest. Everybody's just having very good time.
Last year, we have some videos that somebody just sent to us from last year, and the vibe and the energy that was just flowing through that place because they're all singing along and they're going yeah, you know, and it's a lot of times I'll say, man, did you see that hate singer? You know, they get up in front of me going yeah, and but these people were just smiling and just having a great time, you know, and it was just and they were singing just as loud as I was, you know. And it was amazing. I always tell people whenever, you know, we feed off of us musicians, we feed off of your energy. So if the more energy you give us, the more we're going to give you. And you know, and so
it is. You are so right. It is so easy. Like the other night, I went out on Friday night. And I tried to play a few songs by myself, and I struggled because my brain was thinking about these other things. Because I had a guy coming in town to play the next night. Once we were playing as a group, I played the same songs without thinking.
Yeah.
But that, you know, and that was just having 4 or 5 people in the room. Right. And I talked to a few, like I've talked to some national artists about this as well as like people who play a lot. Andy Frasco, I'll give an example. He played Red Rocks a couple years ago, and he played a bar with 50 people in it the next night. They did a split venue at Red Rocks with Keller Williams, whatever. Huge crowd. And he said, I had to give just as much energy though the next night to 50 people. It's harder, but when you see people do that, you're blown away. You're like, there are 3 people that in this crowd, and they're the people on stage might as well be playing to 100,000.
Yeah.
Yes.
And because it's easy when there's a lot of people to do that. I saw Sting in an interview say, you know, someone was asking him, well, you play stadiums, does that make you nervous? And he said, no, it makes me nervous to play to 5 people in a living room.
Yeah.
Because they're
He does.
listening to everything.
A stadium full of people, you're just there. They're already excited.
Right.
There's already a party going on. 5 people
small
in a
crowd.
living, 5
You're
people are
playing to
staring
every
at
one
you.
of the
And they're staring at you, and
Yeah.
they hear every wrong note.
and they'll let you
When
know.
you start getting into it, first you'll see a finger tapping, then they'll be singing like lip syncing, and pretty soon, good.
Yeah.
So I get the same. You know, I get what you're saying, but in my case, like when there was 5 people there, I probably knew all 5
You
of them.
did.
So I mean,
Yeah.
it was just it was easier.
Yeah.
It was easier. I didn't have to impress anybody, you know. And matter of fact, that's when we practiced.
Yeah.
You know, we play songs we never played.
Yeah.
You know,
That's
so-
music.
That's,
Something
we call that paid practice.
right.
some gigs will be like the Wordi Girl. The following week, we're pushing a salad bar out of the way from when we have to start. We sat behind it.
You're going to have to move the meat and cheese cart.
Push it out of the way. Okay, here we go. You know?
We've had people say, "Where's the smallest place that you guys played, or the most inconvenient?" Well, we played at a place up in Belleville one time. This was years ago, and we literally played right in front of the bathroom doors.
Oh, yeah.
So whenever people would have to walk through us to go to the bathroom,
Yeah.
We're going to put you between the toilet and the trash can.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, we'd have to split apart while they walked right by.
You know what? I saw a national act, J.J. Gray and Mofro. They're from Florida, and I've seen them a whole bunch. But me and my wife went to Kansas City to see them at this place called the Knucklehead Saloon, and it was the oddest place because it was an old Harley shop. The story was that the guy started, let everyone drink after work, and pretty soon everyone was drinking so much of his beer, he started selling his employees beer, and pretty soon he realized he made more money selling beer. He shut down the shop, and it was a weird place. But you had to get to the toilets, you had to walk across stage, and you have to go through the horn line with J.J. Gray because there's 3 horn players, and so you'd have to split them to go to get to the toilets.
Oh, that's beautiful.
And
That's
they're up there,
amazing.
and they're up there like giving it their all, and you're like, hey, excuse me.
I always say, "Excuse me, do you have a backstage pass?" And they're like,
All access, baby.
That's the way it is at the back dormant clubhouse.
Yeah.
You'd play on that end, the line would form. I don't know why people spent so much time in the bathroom, but for some reason people would spend a long time in the bathroom, and so a line would start
Stocked up.
forming on. Sometimes they were doing plumbing, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
But
Checking the plumbing.
there would be a line across the side of the stage of people waiting to get into the.
But then it seems like there's a bunch of people front row, just they aren't looking at you. They're just standing in line.
Now, most of them are like turning their backs to us as they were standing in line. I think they felt awkward too. It's like, I'm on stage. I shouldn't be here,
Yeah, that is. So let me ask you this: Have you ever been up to George's Pub and Grill?
"No."
So it's they have a perfect stage for you two, and they have music constantly, 4 or 5 nights a week.
Where's that at?
It's Jerseyville.
They've been cutting it back a little.
Have they been cutting?
Yeah, they do Thursday. They started doing Thursdays again this week, but it's
So
I think winter time.
I think over the
sometimes,
winter,
yeah.
Andy probably rolls it back a bit because the
It's
crowds.
usually Friday, Saturday.
But they have a stage 1-2 people fit on perfectly, and they always have solo or
We'll have to reach out to him.
yeah, absolutely.
What's it called?
George's.
George's
Pub and Grill
in Jerseyville.
yeah, the owner Andy is a music lover, so.
You guys would be perfect there.
Yeah, that's what I was when you were talking about the smallest place you played. I thought Andy's is funny because it has one of the smallest actual stages I've seen, where it's built like a stage with a monitor and there's a speed. He's got it set up where you just walk in, and it's ready for you, or whatever. But it's as big as this countertop, you know what I mean? And a lot of times I've seen people playing in little corners, but there's usually not a stage, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And
They
great
still
place
got
up there.
the wheel you can spin on the wall.
I
They used
can't
to have a
remember.
wheel you could spin. It was right there on stage. So
Yeah, I don't remember.
Did you win a prize?
no, I never won a prize. I went in there with Matt Van Voorhis of Macias Insurance one time. He
Nice.
took me out to lunch there. It's the
Nice.
only time I was in there, but
Yeah.
definitely seen the box for a stage. That's what
Yeah.
I looked. It kind of looked like a box.
Yeah,
sitting over
yeah.
there.
Fairmont Racetrack was kind of like that. Like, we're playing Fairmont Horse Track. This would be awesome. And it
The
was
stage
about
was tiny.
third of the size of this table
Oh,
right
and
here.
it was like 110
Oh, my
degrees
God.
outside.
And they say, and they're off, and nobody's looking at us. With, oh, God, so hot. And then we'd go about 20 feet away, go inside where it's AC at about 60 degrees in there. We're going,
So you were playing outside?
Yes.
By the bleachers or
behind the bleachers are here,
There's
and the
like-
track goes like this. We're way over here. People came in this way, and people look over, go look at the horses. It's brutal.
So a local guy, Jeff Bensman, a great local player, been playing around here forever. He was telling me that was one of the craziest gigs he used to have. Was fair that they used to do Friday nights or Saturday, whatever,
yeah.
Fairmont Park, and their logo is every 19 minutes the place goes crazy.
Right.
So every 19 minutes a race starts. You don't know how long that race takes exactly. So the time between when that race stops and the 19-minute mark is always a little different. You know, if one
Right.
race takes longer,
Yeah.
Right.
because it's 19 minutes from when this one starts to when this one starts.
Right.
And so his band had to play just timed out to where they stopped right as the announcer announced it. And so they would always, he said, well, you're doing math the whole time and trying to figure out which songs will fit this
my.
better because you have to end right as they're announcing
Wow.
it, and you have to do you're kind of waiting for that race to end, going, okay, we can do this song for 4 minutes, and you always put a song at the end that you can play a little bit on the tail a little bit.
Start halfway through the lead and stop.
You don't save Freebird for the end, no.
Yeah, yeah. Get right up to the lead notes and cut.
So I didn't even realize they had bands outside there. I've seen bands
This
on the
been-
inside in the bars before.
This has
but-
been several years, probably 10 years ago, maybe.
Yeah.
They're,
It's
9
maybe
years.
maybe longer than that. I'm not
they're
sure.
advertising it as Long Shots
That's the bar that's in
At-
That's the bar down the
Yeah.
street.
Fairmont Park.
Yeah.
So there's like 3 different bars, I think, stacked up on top of each other.
Yeah, the long shots is across the street
Across the
and down
street
a
now.
little ways.
Yep.
So this
Oh,
was
really?
inside the
They
compound.
might have moved it inside
I
now.
thought I was
maybe
gonna say I
'cause
think it's inside I think Long Shots is the bottom floor of the building now.
Wow.
I think now I swear.
I think you're right just by the ads I seen, and it's on the Fairmont Parks
Yeah.
Facebook page. So
Yeah, I think that's that they've actually moved that to like it's top of the turf is the top and long shots and then there's something in the middle. I think. Tuesday horse hooky, a lot of fun. Skip work, play hooky at work, and just go
yes.
bet on horses.
Oh, yes.
It's so much fun. It's
I
like,
can't say that I'll do that on the air. My boss might be listening.
You know what? That's oppressive. Okay, it's not making me stay at work all day like you're paying me to be there.
Yeah. I said,
Just
what?
gonna
You
take a long
expect me
lunch.
to
I'll be
work?
right back.
I'm encouraging everyone who can get away with it. Everyone whose boss isn't listening.
hey, thank you to all the bosses who are listening in tonight.
Oh, I text him. Did you hear that?
So we're talking Wordi Gras a little bit. You guys, first of all, anyone who's like, what's a Wordi Gras? Mardi Gras in Warden, and being from Granite City, I have to say this to you. What is it? Your second year, third
year.
Third. So this will be the third Granite City Mardi Gras. St. Louis has been known for years, the Dogtown Parade, as being like the second biggest Mardi Gras parade in the country, pretty much. Behind New Orleans, we got it going. St. Louis is
Huge.
I believe Granite City might be 3 at this point. I mean, they're.
I'm going to back up and give it to Wordi Gras.
Well, so I was leading there, I was going to say, but for the size,
People just don't know about. I mean, media and all that stuff.
yeah.
It's the people who show up know.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
And maybe they don't want the word getting out. I'm just saying, sometimes you threw some parties and you're like, I don't know if I want too many people showing up.
You try to keep it on the down low till as long as you can, so it doesn't get.
Yeah.
But and I say that strictly. The reason I threw out that like Granite City, first of all, you're from Granite City. This is a part of you, what you're doing, but it's a bigger draw because it's closer to it's a bigger city. Warden is a very small community, so percentage wise of the people, you know what I mean? It's just I think you're going to get more.
I
people
don't know.
in Granite City.
You need to get online and look at the pictures and talk to people who've been to Wordi Gras because it is
It's
packed.
insane.
Yeah, I bet there
You
was.
wonder why all those people went to Warden.
Yeah.
That is the
14th or
impression you
something.
get. I mean, the streets are full of people.
That's way
It's
longer.
like New Orleans. I am not kidding.
So the 2 bars in Warden are across the street from each other. So
Yeah.
there is this main area wherever you're like that.
Right.
That's where I think
There's a
Granite City.
parade.
Yeah, and I think Granite City's is more spread out, but I would think you would have the same amount of people as that. Really? Okay. Wow.
Yeah.
I saw the look in her face. I
telling you.
saw it. I'm not. Now Warden's been doing this for a long time.
Which
Yeah.
is one of the reasons.
Yeah, well,
I mean, a lot of
10,000
people.
show up at that thing.
I don't know.
Did you hear what he just said?
I did hear that. Now that guy.
I don't know why he hasn't
Like
believed
10,000.
me.
Yeah.
All these years, I always bring up Wordi Gras. We should cover Wordi Gras.
And we
should cover-
do. And
Yeah, we do.
We've
But
done it before.
I
but
don't
I've just
think
never
it
been to
impressed
it.
because and
I've
see
never
this.
been to it.
This is
That's what it
Pik'n.
is.
When he actually shows up to a Wordi Gras and sees it,
Yeah, you're
all
right.
he'll talk about is how great Wordi Gras is
You were
because he needs to actually feel that.
When we're done here, we'll show you a video from last year.
Okay, I'm going to show you some videos too, but we can't talk about it on the air.
Do that off the air.
But it was great because somebody was, I don't know if they were standing behind me or where they were, but they were filming, and they were filming like we're playing on stage, and you could see out this
Yeah.
way. And
It goes
and
75
but it was
yards,
great. But
60 yards wide.
But the Mardi
path.
Gras in Granite City, they're calling it this year. They're calling it Mardi at the Mill, and I hope that someday it will have the crowd like that.
Yeah. Well, my understanding was that it was stretched through the city, though. It wasn't
Well,
just.
there's a bar crawl
bar.
afterwards.
Okay, and then maybe I was getting that thrown all. See, I mix it all up in my head and let it play out the way I like it.
And
to me, it was
they're not
awesome.
doing the
They're not
parties.
doing it? Oh, they're no longer doing that.
Oh, okay. There you go. So that's why it's Marty at the Mill, because it's more okay.
Yeah, it's
and that's
centrally
why
located. They're going to have a heated tent in front of the mill, and Sweetie and the Toothaches are going to be playing there.
Actually, we did play
And John Shanahan.
the Wordi Gras the day after the Wordi Gras one year. And there's a bar that's no longer there, but they had a big tent out back, and there's been an ice storm. And going there the day after, I always say it's like playing Hiroshima the day after they dropped the bomb.
Oh, it was unbelievable. It was.
There were 10
I mean,
people there.
it was horrible up there.
Oh,
it was,
God.
Yeah.
And so we played inside, and maybe 10 people max,
Yeah.
I guess, and they come in going, oh.
Yeah.
I have played those events. I've thrown events that have gone like that, where I'm like, well, this wasn't worth all the time.
The day after, it was like,
Are you still having your family fest?
We have not had that for a few years, where it didn't go good at Camp Du Bois. It didn't really work out for a place for us. It wasn't what we were looking for. It was too much. It was a lot of work because there's nothing there, so you have to build everything from scratch.
Maybe you could bring it down to downtown Granite City.
Well, so it's odd because at the time, I had all my friends that threw successful festivals. When I got into it, they said, "Look, man, we know you. You know how to throw a good show, but you're not going to do the work to promote it as good as a lot of people do, because we know you. You got to be able to weather 4 or 5 years, and you'll be successful because the word will spread." Well, you can't get kicked around, and I kept getting, well, you can't be in Effingham no more. Well, you can't be in Benton no more. I paid my bills. I thought that was enough to secure it.
Yeah.
And so when Mike Parkinson actually said, "Hey, when we all went down there," and my brain was so wrapped around the fact that I had just lost Benton, where I'd been having a couple of years. I was like, oh, this is the new home for Family Fest. I can look back at that now and laugh and go, that's not what he wanted. He wanted a Granite City festival. He didn't want my stupid festival on the edge of town out by Weber. He was trying to put together something for the city. I was just too wrapped up in my own crap to real. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because I was actively looking for a home, and I thought, wow, what a weird thing to have someone reach out right when I'm looking. So I thought I look back at that and go, he wanted a downtown Granite City festival, and we could have done that.
Well, there's still time.
I just didn't see it that way. You know what I mean? At that day, and but I still had so much fun just hanging out and like.
Oh, that was wonderful.
You should come see the venue now that it's done. Dennis has been there.
He same thing as what he just said about Wordi Gras. He does this with videos and bands, and sooner or later he breaks me down. And in my time, I go, he's always on me to do this. I'm going to do this thing, and I watch the Hideous Gentleman video, and then I watch it 10 times and go, this is great. I see what he's talking about. It's the same thing with like different venues. And the Mill is one of them where it's like, oh my gosh. I got to get down there because I saw the vision of it, and I haven't seen it complete yet.
Yeah.
Right. Oh.
So,
tomorrow night's going to be the Rumors Fleetwood Mac tribute, and they're from California. They're from L.A., and it's going to be just. I bought our tickets right after they went on sale, so Scott and I are sitting center, straight forward.
oh man, it's going to be a landslide.
So I can see it. But yeah, you do definitely. You need to go to that Wordi Gras. That Wordi Gras is amazing.
It's going to be a landslide.
Oh yeah.
Thanks for catching that. We had Ray Warren down here a couple weeks ago. He's a super nice
love
guy.
Ray.
Isn't he beautiful?
And we talked about so many of the great shows that are coming through that place, and one of them that I'm just going to kind of bring up to you guys, Epic Pro Wrestling. We were so happy to see, because we've had those guys on for years, and we have several different wrestling groups, and there are a few of them that we've connected with a little deeper than the others. One of them is the Cottage Hills Kids, because they reminded me so much of a garage band. They started in the backyard, built their own ring, and I'm like, this is how bands
cool,
start.
yeah.
And they were so into it, and they were all little guys who were told by all the places, you're too little to wrestle. Okay, fine, we'll start our own thing then. And to me, that's totally. I'm the underdog. I love it. I'm the poster child for the underdog.
Me too.
Nobody expects anything from me ever. Anyway, but that pro wrestling, the Epic, is another one that those guys are so good at like they're good at what they do. We were happy to see them at the mill, and
they
sell it out
quickly.
And I'm excited to see that happen.
We're playing every time they're there. It seems like we have not got to see it yet.
Yeah, we haven't got to. Our son told us the other night because our son he helps. He works with Ray. He does like stage tech and stuff like that.
Awesome.
And also he plays in a band with us now too. And
Supernova. Okay.
And
I was gonna guess Solstice.
Solstice is with Jared Unfried from The Hideous Gentleman.
Yeah.
So, and then and Casey Ashby from Chaser and all. He's got like 4 or 5 bands that he plays with.
We've had Casey on before. Yeah.
And so, but yeah, it's he always says, "Man, you guys need to not play one of those nights and come watch this wrestling." You know, so
it's a lot of fun, and we say it every time it gets brought up. Man, take the kids. It's so interactive, and it's so, it's.
And they had that where they challenged like a challenge match with one of our local police officers.
Nice.
Oh yeah.
And so it was
we've been up in the old square circle with him before. I made a guy named Butcher retire. Well,
Square circle.
He retired after we arm wrestled in the ring. I can't say it had anything to do with me, but I like to.
It was a short retirement and has since just this past year actually retired. So
I can start
that was
talking
like,
smack
I don't know,
again.
10 years ago when that
He's
happened.
lucky. He's lucky.
He's so lucky he retired because I was ready for the rematch, man. I've been calling his people and everything, challenging him.
It'd have been mine.
Yeah,
I watched videos on. They're into it and the crowd's into it.
Well, and like I say that, like I took my daughter, took my son as a friend when they were little, and talking smack to the, screaming at the wrestlers they like, screaming at the, talking to the ones, and the wrestlers talk back to them.
Yeah.
That becomes so, where my daughter was even like, she got to the point where there was a wrestler who had a female who was like his manager, and she's like, "You cheap Cyndi Lauper ripoff!" I might have coached her on that one a little bit on what to say, but it really is. It's a lot of fun, and it had to me. The interaction with the kids, first of all, it draws the kids in where they're excited because that wrestler just pointed at them and threatened them.
Right.
Like it's real. But it's also had that like dinner, 1970s mystery dinner theater where the bad guy looks at you and says, "I'll get you next," and you're like, "I'm just trying to get a pork chop."
That's good.
So if you're just tuning in, we're talking to Scott and Mechelle. They're going to be playing Wordi Gras up in Warden.
4 to 6 at the Yellow Dog.
You're at the Yellow Dog. Now, is there a tent there?
Yes,
Oh, yeah, huge.
It covers the whole. It's a heated tent. It
Right.
Covers the whole thing.
Because
Sorry,
they got shows at the Rustic as well.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So is there 2 tents?
Yes.
Yes.
There's a huge tent behind them, and then Yellow Dog. It's thousands of people can fit in these tents.
It's Champagne Fix is playing from 12 to 4, and then Scott and I from 4 to 6, and then the Cheers band after that.
That's exactly what I was going to ask.
Yeah. I can read your mind.
Right.
What am I thinking?
I love it when you read my mind.
I've actually got the times for the Rustic one, but I didn't have the times for the Yellow Dog.
Who's playing at the Rustic this year?
Well, we got the Fry Project.
Uh-huh.
I think that's the first time they played there.
Yeah.
11 a.m. to 3. And then we got Sean Garrett from 4 to 7. The parade's at 3 o'clock.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
So you guys are going to be right after the parade.
Mm-hmm.
And then Sean Garrett, he's going to be playing inside the Rustic from 4 to 7. And then Clueless will be in the tent from 4 to 8.
Wow.
Remember last year Ruby Lee played over there?
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
Totally remembered. I almost went to that one.
Yeah. Yep.
What a great little
Performer,
performer she is, man.
I
I think
Vandalia.
Yeah,
Vandalia
she was.
days?
Yeah, she was in at Vandalia when we played there last year.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think she was like 9 or something when I first. She was a crazy little girl and already was like, oh, really?
Yeah.
Really? You're showing off over there, man. No, she just already had it, whatever it is.
Yeah.
Didn't she play at Village Inn when we were playing fundraiser?
She
out
did.
back?
She was about. But Bobby Rollins
12 maybe, or
had set
10
her up
or-
there, and
She
she
started
was
singing,
probably
like,
about 12. And I thought,
you
oh
can't
my!
follow
She
that.
started yodeling and stuff. I
Yeah.
thought, man, that is so cool.
It is,
Yeah. So
yeah.
you guys want to play after this? Let's let the smoke clear for a little while. This is you can never play after a kid plays.
I'm sorry, I wasn't trying to take your job.
No.
And
I love it. Save me time. I'd probably stumbled through it and everything else, so I'm done with it. But you did mention the Mardi Gras down in Granite, so I got that on my list here too somewhere, and I was trying to figure. He said, here we go.
I just Mardi Gras at the mill.
Sweetie and the Toothaches from 3 to 6, and John Shanahan 6:30 to 8:30. It's free. Doors open at 1 o'clock at the mill in Granite. So they're going to be partying before the bands even start down there.
Yeah, I think they've moved the
They've
parade
moved
up
the parade up to 11:15
Okay.
because of the rain.
Now, does it go like right by there?
Yeah, it ends there.
Okay.
It ends at the mill.
Have you guys heard John Shanahan?
Son of Mike Shanahan? No, I don't know.
He does CCR like John Fogerty.
Oh, man, he's
exactly. Oh, he's so good and a wonderful guy. Truly nice.
Yeah. Fogerty's like the only guy who got sued for sounding too much like himself. Sorry, you sound too much like John Fogerty.
Oh, his voice just cuts,
Oh,
man.
yeah.
So I'm pretty sure you meant Mike Shannon.
I don't know.
But it's funny because to me that was cracking me up because there is a Mike Shanahan that's like a football coach.
Oh, that's right. Okay, I was trying to yeah,
you
Mike
sound
Shannon,
like Vince
Cardinal
Lombardi.
player.
I mean, I'm just throwing names out. I don't know.
I just knew where his mind went, and it definitely was Mike Shannon's what he was
That's
thinking.
right.
You
Shanahan
remind
was
me
the
of
coach.
John DeLorean. No, I don't know.
Anyway.
Just
So we got stuff happening on Friday night this weekend too, and I come across this one, Pigpen, and
all right. Let's hear it.
so this is at Pop Saloon and Slots in Alton.
Wait.
Exactly. I don't know where that's at.
Okay.
Okay, so I'm pretty sure most of this is hip hop, which is probably why we don't know where it's at.
Okay.
Okay.
Well, let's figure this out.
We
Go
got
ahead.
Psycho Merch and Black Sheep Mafia Records presenting Toxic Traits and Tainted Love with HB the Grizzly with her Ladies and Gentlemen co-headliner Hayes, Looney Tunes with a Z, Sarah LaPerp, Chas Manion, and Jacqueline Flyman, I guess is how you would say that. $15 in advance, $20 day of the show. Doors open at 6. Pop Saloon and Slots in Alton.
And that is at 1043 Oakwood Avenue. I just
Yeah.
looked it up. So
I was gonna say,
'cause
Oakwood.
I truly had no idea when you said that. I'm like trying to picture where that might be.
Is that behind Lowe's?
Yeah, so there you go.
Okay.
It's behind those there. But I was trying to picture it going. At first, I thought
know.
uptown at the old DJs or somewhere around there. You know.
No.
So wow, they're you know what
Behind
happy
Lowe's?
happy to hear of a venue, new venue, especially doing something with that.
Veera's used to be up that way, didn't it? A place called Veera's up behind there.
Yep, absolutely. I went to high school with the kid whose family owned that, and that could be a rough joint at points.
We played there once. It was they had those open furnace like fans going everywhere. And you stick your finger.
Yeah, oh yeah.
Like,
Yeah, look like an airplane, like the airplane fan going. You know.
You see a guy missing fingers, you're like, what happened? He's like, well, I took this hand and it was 1 year ago today when I did.
I'm sorry.
No, it's all good. It's all good.
I don't know. It's
I get quiet because like he talks constantly, so it's just easier for me to wait until the perfect moment. We've learned this after 10 years. And that way I'm not talking, because if you listen to this back and everyone's talking at the same time, we can't hear what's happening. So I'm cool with being the reserved one, stay back, and so don't worry.
Yeah.
not me.
Don't worry about
I
it.
want to be the star. Somebody throw on a rose-colored spotlight. No.
See, I don't take it as he wants to be a star. It's like you could meet this guy 25 years ago and he'd be talking this much. You know what I mean? This is just who he is, right?
I love it.
Which is why I hired him to come on and do this show, because now I can just sit here and relax and listen to it.
I have been diagnosed with what they call pressured speech. No, not true.
So my main job is to pop in and let people who are listening know we're not talking about wrestlers tonight. We're talking about Scott and Mechelle playing Wordi Gras.
Oh, yes.
Hold on.
Just so we can get some plugs in.
Scott and Mechelle wrestle Laney and Julie in an all-out tag team.
Yeah. Come on.
Thunderdome.
That's great.
They would just hug each other.
Yeah, we would.
Like, you guys are so
Love
nice.
those two.
You know what? Now I want to see it happen for sure. I kind of want to be in the middle of it.
You guys have probably played a show with Laney and Julie at some point along the line, haven't you?
We've gone, like, they've come to see us, and we've gone to see them, and we'll like sit in with
We
each
ended up
other.
down at the Ozarks with them one time
yeah.
too, and got to finally sit and talk with them for a bit. You know.
Yeah.
I think that'd be kind of cool to have like shared nights where we play at the same time. You know, everybody
That
play
would
on
be
the
fun.
stage. That would be great. Just one big happy families.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and that is awesome. If you have all four of you sitting in bar stools
Yeah.
next
Oh,
to
it's
each
great.
other.
Oh, I can't sit down.
Finally got to
but-
sit and talk to him, and there's a very intoxicated guy from our town, and he was complaining to Mechelle about city things. I was like, "Hey, brother, we drove 3 hours to get here."
Yeah, we were playing in the
Please,
Ozarks, and
please.
he was going to go. And you know what else makes me mad? You know what else makes me
Yeah,
mad?
and I'm like going,
I don't like it when the fish ain't biting.
"Can I call the mayor and have him do something about that?"
You know what I don't like? Sunshine in my eyes. You know what I don't like? When it's dark.
And when it don't rain, and when it does rain.
Yeah, there's no pleasing some people. And
No.
What else is happening on Friday? Anything?
Oh, yeah, there's lots of stuff.
Tell me about it.
The Owls are going to fire it up at the VFW. And we got Hall & Oates at Fast Eddie. But it's spelled Haulin. Holland.
Holland.
Oh, Hall & Oates. That's awesome.
Yeah,
That's
that's the name.
I like it.
They don't do any Hall & Oates songs is the funny part. I hope that's not what you're here to see.
Soulshine Groove's going to be out at Baker's and Hale
All right.
on Friday, and Jared Lutz out at the Locks Brick House in Bethalto. Andrew Dahl up at George's Pub and Grill in Jerseyville, which we talked about a little bit. Tanglefoot's going to be playing DJs in Jerseyville. It's one of the few bands that plays DJs in Jerseyville. They have bands occasionally, but Tanglefoot's always been one of those bands. You know, Mechelle mentioned down at the mill, the Rumors Fleetwood Mac tribute. And I'm wondering if Becca Bramlett's going to be there,
Yeah.
because she actually sang with Fleetwood Mac.
She did.
Yeah,
Yeah.
she lives in
might-
Granite now too. Her daughter.
Yeah,
does.
she actually Becca came to she came and watched us play at Pavia's, and she come up and sang a song with me.
Oh, awesome.
See, here's the thing. If Becca's sitting in the audience, these LA folks are going to do great, but she's going to be like, I sang the Stevie Nicks part.
No, that's what you do. She's probably just nice and going,
right,
they're good.
Yeah.
Right.
Compliment them, you know?
Yeah.
Hey,
I mean, you know, look
You're-
who her mother is. I mean, you know.
Yeah.
And I don't know if you guys have heard this story. Scott, you may have, but recently I told Pigpen a story that I came across, and it was about Delaney and Bonnie, right? And Blind Faith is they're opening for Blind Faith on tour. And after the shows, Eric would always go hang out with Delaney and Bonnie because he really liked the guys in the band, and he really liked
And the
Bonnie
girl.
too, because Bonnie was like a mother to that group, right? She would make sure, you know, just like Mechelle does, everyone's got something to eat, you know, and just doing the motherly thing.
And it doesn't hurt that both of you are easy on the eyes.
Well, thank you.
So yeah, I'm going to shorten this story, but anyways, Eric enjoyed hanging out with that band so much that band eventually becomes Derek and the Dominoes and writes Layla. The drummer wrote the piano part for Layla.
Wow.
Yeah.
Didn't know that.
Yeah, and you know, eventually Delaney and Bonnie get to England, and George Harrison hears about how much fun Eric Clapton's having, and he ends up joining those guys.
Yes.
And of course, we're not going to talk about what Delaney did, but that's why they separated. And
Yes. We've heard a couple of those. Yeah.
yeah,
But at that time, when Harrison
he's
hooks
going to
up
tell
with
us
him,
George Harrison part of this story now.
yeah, well, that was the first Beatle to tour since the Beatles broke up.
Yeah.
No Beatle had been on tour until Bonnie and Delaney had, Harrison playing rhythm guitar.
I think that's why she wrote that song. Don't you remember you told me you loved me, baby?
Baby.
So I was trying to do the shortened version of that, but I knew he was going to do the George Harrison part, so I knew I had to maybe shorten it too much. I didn't get to the most important part of that story.
Back to you.
Yeah.
So Delaney told Eric Clapton, "You're not going to be playing 1,000 notes in this band. You're going to stay in the pocket and play the notes that I tell you to play." And Eric loved it. He loved being in a band where he wasn't the leader.
Right.
He got to and if you think about how much his guitar playing changed
At that
from
point.
before
Yeah.
Delaney and Bonnie and after, I
Right.
mean, he was
That's a
known
great
as
story.
he was
Slow hand.
known as
Yeah.
slow hand after
Yeah.
that. Yeah.
But before that, they
Did
called
not
him
know
fast
that.
hand. A lot of people don't realize that.
That's
Well,
interesting.
Fast
I'm
hand.
getting chills because Bonnie is the reason. That's how I
Yes.
look at it, and it brings it all right back home.
Oh yeah.
Right where rock and roll was created. We've talked about this with Chuck Berry and Johnny Johnson and Miles Davis, and we could just go on and on and on about all the greats from the beginning of rock
yes.
and roll,
Yeah.
including the band she was in as an Ikette, right?
Right.
Ike and Tina. So, yeah, it's amazing.
She's amazing to listen to. We had coffee with her probably a month ago, and
Yeah.
when we could still be outside. It was a nice day, and sat on her front porch and had coffee, and she was just talking about her past, and it's like fascinating.
Oh yeah.
Man,
So,
I'd like to know.
I mean, she was like, she touched rock and roll more than any other single person I've ever
Yeah.
met.
Right.
And
Yep.
and as much a big of a deadhead as I am, I got to hang out with those guys, but they didn't, change the face of what everyone's listening
No.
to,
Right.
just what the acid heads were listening to. But she
Right.
literally has done so much and is involved in portions that people don't even realize
Yeah.
what
No.
she had done. And let's just say it, still to this day, she's hot.
I love her energy too. I mean,
sure.
she's got so much energy, and she's just such a good person, and like whenever she can understand, different things, whenever that I guess probably every female singer goes through.
She's
you
been
know.
through it all.
Oh.
She's
So-
she's been through it
yeah.
all. So yeah.
So that story I just told you guys, if you could go back and talk to her about that
Yes.
and give me some verification, it makes total sense. So
Yes,
it
I
does.
do believe
Uh-huh,
it.
yeah.
But
The
coming
stories I
from
told
her,
you, I made up now.
yeah,
I made up all my.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll be talking to her.
yeah. Find out if she even liked George Harrison. No, I'm just
Yeah,
kidding.
she did.
Yeah, she was a Ringo fan, bro. Everyone knows it, man.
I just like messing with you.
That's great.
I knew that would kill you.
I don't remember if it was actually Bonnie that sent us down the rabbit hole, because it's been so many years ago, and again, my timeline's so messed up. He'll tell you if it's right. But we've been on the okay, where did rock and roll start?
Well, I think we're going to have to give Steve Scorfina the up, because he's the one
He-
that told
so
us,
he-
you need to
yeah.
get Bonnie Bramlett. And then we said something to those guys, and they're like, oh, we know her.
Hey, well,
Wait,
and he clued us into quite. I'm going to say Steve Scorfina clued me into, as much
Yeah.
as I've studied all this, he clued me into a lot of stuff that I've
Speaking of
passed me.
which, do you know whose birthday it is today?
No way.
St. Louis and
Steve?
Michael McDonald.
Oh, Mike
Oh.
McDonald, Ferguson.
Yeah.
Yeah, awesome.
I just watched the Family Guy thing where they have Michael. Have you seen that? Where he sings backup
Back
to
to
everything?
everything.
Oh, no, I love that. I haven't seen that one
I
yet.
hired Michael McDonald to sing up back up to everything. He'll hire Michael McDonald to sing up back.
Love Family Guy.
Yeah. So Steve played with him when they were 11.
Wow.
They were neighbors.
Mike and the Majestics.
Yeah.
Mike and the Majestics.
There's something in the water on that block, I guess. That's
For sure.
incredible.
Yeah, they
Yeah.
even made a documentary called that.
Oh, did they?
Yeah.
I
And there's tunnels under the pyramids that connect them all. I just want to throw that out there. Well, because every time we tell this story, I go back all the way to there's pyramids, and all these people were partying here long before we knew what was going on. It was a gathering place way back, way back, thousands of years ago. So, yeah, there's something magic here for sure.
Yes.
Yeah, the first fish that crawled out of the water and went for a jog was right down. No, I don't know. I don't know.
That part about the tunnels might be true too. Just
Oh, yeah. We call them catacombs. Man, what else we got happening? We
Well, I
can't get
got
through a
so
Friday
much.
because I keep talking.
Look
I'm
at this
sorry.
list. It goes all the way to the bottom of the page, Pigpen. So
It
it's
just
like
keeps
you
going
got Jake and Max at backstage at the lake at Holiday Shores. You got Scott Marlin, who was our guest last week. And when we said you guys were the nicest couple around, he's like 100% jumped in on that.
He's
He loves you
awesome.
guys.
We love him too.
Yeah. So he'll be playing at Big Daddy's, where you guys will be playing too. At the
Yes.
end of the month, right?
Yep. We will be there February 22nd.
That's right. And let's see, Grand Theft Audio. They're doing.
That's great. I love that.
They're doing backstage right there across from the Wild E. Robert Perry plays at the Stagger Inn quite a bit. He'll be there on Friday night. And Dizzy Atmosphere
All right.
at the 1818 Chop House from
That's a
6
new
to
one.
9. Another guy, Jack Twesden, who's taught us a lot
yeah.
about
I
rock
love
and
Jack.
roll.
Yeah.
He's a guy that we're going to have to get in our mix when we start really putting this back together again, Pigpen. We want to do like a series based on the history of rock here,
Right.
and
Yeah.
have just the people that we've learned all this kind of in sequence and tie it all together again.
See, I want to find the exact spot between Washington Park and Granite City that it happened. And I want to put an X on the ground and just stand there. Nah,
Yeah. To the both, you know.
Scott could probably find that spot, but he'd have to
Yeah.
talk to Bonnie first.
Well, he's got those dowsing rods like they used to find water in the old days and stuff.
You probably do know where that spot's at.
I have an
don't
app on
you?
my phone that'll tell me right now.
We got Scott Keller Band out at Cabin at Judy Creek, and Brian Foggs and friends down at the Press House, the old Harold Brewing, and what else? Oh, Spellblade, Blood Oath, At My Worst, the Howell Twins, the Rose Court, and Everfelt at Pops in Sauget, which we don't talk about Pops enough, really. It's a venue that has original bands in it. And guess where it's at? Right down there where rock and roll started.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
That's why we burnt down the other one to get it to move closer. No, and when I say we, I mean they.
Yeah. I stayed home that night.
I see a lot of people playing this place called Wine for the Wind now in Troy.
Yeah, we're booked there.
Yeah. So when you guys playing?
I believe it's October 15th, I think.
We went
Looks
there
like
last
they-
Friday for the first time.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. First time is a new
First
venue.
time. Yeah, I think
Yeah.
maybe a year max.
It's still nice and crisp in there, so
Yeah.
I think it's pretty new.
Hadn't been destroyed yet.
What I've noticed is they tapped right into the acoustic players that we mention every single week. And
Yeah.
I've seen you guys were down there, and Graham's been down there. All these people I mentioned, Matt Heaton, he's one of them. That we
Jeremy's.
mentioned over
Yeah,
and over.
Jeremy,
Drake,
Scott
yeah.
Marlin. Yep.
Scott Marlin, right.
Yep.
So, flip the
That's a lot of
frogs all the
good
way up.
players right there.
Flip the frogs on the road.
Flip the frog.
They're at the Roadhouse and Root House.
All the frog flippers heading to Root House.
Yeah. And Hard Drive, they're going to be at halftime in Hillsboro. Ray Warren,
Yeah, all right.
right?
Yeah,
Yes, sir.
yep, Harvest
Yes,
Drive.
sir. All right, yeah, he was.
Oh, that's
star
Hard
guest.
Drive. Okay, I looked at it wrong. This is Hard Drive. He's in Harvest Drive. I've always gotten those two mixed up.
I think they do it on purpose. Their logos are close. No, I don't know.
Then we talked to a brighter side. Their Red Flag show's coming up Friday night. So.
Yeah. Yeah, and you know what? I just saw. You know me. I'm not a big get on the computer kind of guy, but when you're shopping for stuff, sometimes it helps. And the other day, I did see a really nice post on their show that they did from somebody that said, "Hey, I wasn't prepared for how good this show was going to be." So happy.
I wasn't prepared for how fast this show just went by.
What are you what?
Yeah.
Hold on. Do we get to talk about whatever you guys want to?
We talk about wrestling quite a bit.
What? That's because I'm really into it right now. And I got my wrestling guys in the car. I play on the dash.
What I want to talk about, though, is, because Mechelle brought this in. Here's the list of what's going to be happening. Is this Civic Park?
That's Civic Park,
Civic
yeah.
Park, which is right there by the mill, right?
Right in front.
Starting June
Okay.
3rd. June 3rd, Heartland Band. June 10th, Josh Josh Holland acoustic solo, and June 17th, Broken Hipsters, all new acts this year at the Civic Park.
And
What do
none
they
of
call
those
that?
are
Just
super
music
familiar.
in the park, right?
Yeah, I call it the Civic Park Concert Series.
Okay.
Yeah.
None of those are familiar names. Like I don't recognize those from our list.
The Broken Hipsters has Dave Toretta.
Oh
in it.
wow! Yeah, there you
yeah.
go. That's real.
He's on our list.
Yeah, that's real right there, man.
Yeah.
That dude's
Played
good.
with Chuck Berry. For a long time.
Yeah.
So he's part of the Broken Hipsters, and then the Josh Holland band he's like a YouTube sensation.
You'll check him out. Oh man,
you gotta,
Local
these guys.
Midwest, I guess.
He's like in some part of Illinois.
Regional? Okay,
yeah, like
yeah.
Normal, Illinois or something.
okay, yeah.
So you gotta check him out, Josh Holland. And
Nothing in
just,
Illinois is normal. First
Yeah,
of all.
just pull him up, and he's amazing.
Awesome.
And then the Heartland Band.
That's Bobby, isn't it?
We actually we went up to Prairie Town Inn and we saw this band
Okay.
play, and they do like Alabama and stuff like that. They're
Kill it.
really, really good.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
I'll have to remember what the other his band's name is now. Anyways, wrapping up June. Here's one you've heard of, Pat Liston. Ever hear him?
That's Danny Liston's brother.
Yeah.
my good buddy Danny's brother, man. I love the Liston brothers, man. Those guys wouldn't want me to talk about anything. They don't want me to mention how long I've known those kids.
And that's just June.
That's nice. Wow, man, Pat. Blue mist. I just want to hear him blow that high note just once,
Yeah,
just to
and-
prove
yeah.
you're human.
And you
I
know,
know, but
all
he
those
always
shows,
nails it, too.
all those shows are free. So you can come down, bring your lawn chair, sit in the park. If it's too hot, you can. The mill has the garage doors open, and you can sit inside there.
Cool
You know where
off.
the air conditioning is. And, yeah.
2 hours, 6:30 to
Yeah.
8:30. So
Right.
you're not there real long. And
Always a breeze there too.
Yeah, and the Porch Cafe is going to be there
Oh boy.
Wow, there you go.
at the end of it, and that's
So let me see if I can roll these off here. In July the 1st, we got Mantia and Creedy.
Teddy McCready.
Okay. And then Pik'n Lik'n, we know those guys. On the 8th of July, Pete Krieshok. On the 15th, the 22nd, Rogers and Nienhaus. First time for this one. They do the Pontoon Beach one, I think.
Yeah.
The House Shakers. And they're steady down there in Granite. They used to play, Patrick's every Thursday or something
yeah.
like that? Yeah. And they're back. They've been there before. So that's on the 29th of July. And then in August, the legendary Butch Moore kicks things off on the
I love
5th.
Butch.
The Blue Monkey is, I know that band, is Scott
Marlin.
I was gonna
Yeah.
say, that
I was
seems like
gonna
a
say.
Marlin
Yeah.
thing. Seems like Blue Marlin mixed with
It's Scott Marlin, Marty Altenberger, and
Okay, Strangers.
and Lang,
Oh, Joe
Joe
Lang.
Lang.
Okay. So that's on the 12th of August, and Jeremy Drake on the 19th, and the Graham Band on the 26th of August. And September on the 2nd, Sonic Scarlet, which is a female band, first time.
Yeah, yep.
And if you guys have not seen Porch Cafe, they are awesome.
I've heard all their videos, and they just blew me away.
Yeah.
They did.
That's
And
usually
so,
what most people say.
Yeah, they blew me away. I was just like, oh my gosh, they are so good. Yeah.
Yeah. So we've had them on several times, and we love them. They're great people. And then the Day Drinkers on the 16th, Tim Campbell on the 23rd, and Dave Mendoza on the 30th to wrap things up for the Civic Park music.
Oh, that,
What
you
do
know
call
what?
it?
That
Music in the park.
that was a good mix there of some familiar favorites and a few that I'm going. I'm on for and the way Dennis compiles this list, we hear a lot of band
Right.
names over and over, and some I'm still like I don't know what's going on, but that was a good mix there. So that very
Thank you.
nice. That's 6 to 8 p.m. right in front of the
6:30 to
mill.
8:30.
6:30, 8:30. Yeah.
Get there at 6, people. You're going to want to get a good seat.
And check out the mill. You can just stroll right up to. There's a bar right there too.
Yeah. We have the bar open at the mill, and people can go over there if they don't. But you can bring your own.
So
as long as you
I was
can.
gonna ask about that, but I kind of did. I was like, maybe we don't want to get into the logistics and let people. Sometimes it's better to ask forgiveness than permission, kind of thing.
Yeah.
But anyway, but anyway, with the bar serving drinks right there, is it where in the Civic Park you can have an open container?
Oh, yes.
Okay, and I wasn't sure because there are many
Oh,
parks
yes.
I've
Oh,
been
yes.
to
Yes.
where I've been removed from enough parks. I know a lot of the rules. Call it Scrappy's look now. Anyway, yeah. So the rule is you can actually bring your own in the park. Okay, I kind of
Just
wanted
no glass.
No glass.
glass.
Well, that makes come on. That's just common sense,
Yeah.
people. You
Yeah.
know. But I mean that should go without saying. But anyway, that is a nice. That's a nice thing to have.
Oh, it's great.
Oh yeah.
Because not just it's for food, it's for drinks. It's you know.
Right.
Yeah.
You're not worrying about. Ooh, I wonder if they,
Dehydration.
or I hope they're not selling $8 waters again.
Yeah.
I want to mention one more for sure on Saturday because I talked to the press house this week down there at the Old Harold Brewery, and it was a bit confusing. So I asked them. They've got this thing called My Funny Valentine, which is comedians.
Yeah.
Martin Neidhart and Jeff Batts and Andrew Gaffigan. And they also had Brian Young and Blues Station, and they had the same times for both. And I'm like, how did they pull that off? Well, they've got an event room where the comedians are going to be. And then Brian Young's going to be in the press house at Old Harold Brewing from 5:30 to 8:30. So,
That's cool.
and you can go back and forth. They said,
Yeah,
so.
It's a double header all at the same time.
That's a place where I'd like to play sometime, but we've never got to play there.
Yeah, Old Harold. Wherever
Scott Marlin can probably help you there.
Yeah.
Yep,
Yeah,
he knows that. He's been bringing us all the information about Old Harold
Yeah.
since they opened up that nice venue outside. and
Oh, that's
he's
awesome
nice.
looking out there.
So, and there's so much more going on, Pigpen, but we're out of time. And there's a game coming up tonight, so
right.
I don't want to push it too
No.
far, but I do want to allow Mechelle to tell us about what you guys coming up this month.
This month, we of course we have the Wordi Gras this Saturday,
Yeah.
and then next Saturday we are going to be at the Prairie Town Inn, and then
Nice.
and then Sunday we'll be at Big Daddy's. So
That's a busy
yeah,
weekend.
Yeah, and then
It's firing up again, 'cause I've-
and then March
we
we'll have
take
like
off
8 shows in March. I can't tell you what they are from the top of my head, but but it will start off on the 1st at Dwight's Village Inn
Yeah.
in March. Yeah.
And when you said Wordi Gras, that's this weekend. Then the following weekend's when you're at the Prairie Inn,
Yes.
right? And then the following weekend after that's when you're at Big Daddy's. Right?
We're at
Or it's the same?
We are at Prairie Town Inn on Saturday and Big Daddy's on Sunday.
Okay,
Yep.
yeah. Wanted to make sure
Yep.
that I got out there clear.
Yeah.
Prairie Town, and that's a nice stage out there.
I love that place.
That's
Great food, great people.
Except the signs that say kids can't get on the stage, because I always want to get on stage so bad.
I'll tell you, you come next Saturday and we'll pull you up there.
There's signs that say I can't get up there. It says
Not
no kids.
this coming Saturday, the following Saturday.
And that's official for most shows with Scott and Mechelle. They always invite people up to
Oh, yeah.
jam with them. So.
Kids
I
included.
do want to ask you guys one other thing before we go. I've been sitting here just watching you guys and checking it out. You guys ought to be like the live commentators at the next wrestling event at the Mill.
Yeah.
That would be neat.
Wouldn't that be awesome?
I am terrified of Lenny Mephisto.
Well, I think that these.
He's
I
the
think it's the
scariest-
women, isn't it? Is it the women wrestlers? I think.
They probably have that going on, but I'm telling you, Lenny's the one wrestler that came in here that made me feel like he was dead serious about what he was talking about, and he would I'll drive you if he had to.
Oh,
And that's a total compliment if you know wrestling.
right.
That's what I,
Well, maybe you guys could just watch it from the other room, and you could commentate in the bar.
I'm all for Pigpen getting in the ring with some people and watching it from the other side.
yes.
You know,
I'm not going to
might-
save him like I did last
gonna
time,
say, you
because
got-
the last time I saved him, I allowed him to win the match, and he always talks about he's the one that beat up the butcher, and he's the one. So that's it. I'm done. I'm done with protecting this guy in the ring.
You know what? You say you've been protecting me, but I've been doing this on my own since I started out. I've been living in semi-seclusion in Quebec to train for this event now. I don't know. I don't know what's going on. Anyway,
We're out
I
of
love
time.
you guys.
Here's the thing.
that's
Here's the
great.
thing. It's a show, right?
Yeah.
So if
Total
we get
show.
on the air
You
and
think
say
it's a show.
and you say too many times, this guy saved me by getting a bunch of roller derby guys to distract Butcher. Well, then it seems, like I didn't
Don't
win.
you remember that part where I reached in and grabbed your hand and pulled it down so you got to win the arm wrestling match?
I was actually distracted by the roller girls instead of Butcher. I was like, whoa, look at that.
Yeah. It took me and him to pull down the Butcher's arm. So
all I know is the girl on the left could take me in a fair fight, and I like it.
That's fine. I love it.
Hey, well, thanks to Scott and Mechelle for coming
Thank you,
down
guys.
here.
Thank you, guys.
Seriously, what we said at the beginning about you being not just great to your community and great to the music community, just great people.
Thank you
So,
very much.
always a
You guys are
pleasure
great.
You guys
to
are
see
family.
We appreciate being here. I love this.
It goes by too quick. So
does.
Scott
That's a
and
quick hour.
Mechelle, they will be at Wordi Gras in Warden. Apparently, it is way bigger than what I thought. So this sounds like the year. Anyway, so that is Saturday night. Whatever you do, just check them out. Scott and Mechelle, they're out playing all the time. Big thanks to them for coming in. Of course, big thanks to our sponsors, Halpin Music Company and Mr. Matt Van Voorhis of Macias and German Insurance. Thanks to everybody for listening. And everybody remember, weather's breaking, people. For sure, it is time to get out and support local music and art.